AG Psycho, how was working with Edge towards the end of his career? What was the experience like of working with veterans like ADR, Edge, Christian, right after your time on NXT?
It was probably like my greatest time in terms of like growth, in terms of learning and just being a part of something special. Of course, we didn't know going into Mania that it was going to be Edge's last match. So, you know, looking back on it now, you're like, wow, you know, his career was, you know, he's a Hall of Fame. Actually, I know because he used my dance moves in his Hall of Fame speech. I was sitting there and I saw the legs jiggling. I was like, wait, is that really?
Did it cut to you? Did they...
Yeah, it went to me. I was like, even now. You know, Edge was just a class act. Christian was cool. Christian, I debuted against him on Monday Night Raw. So I kind of got thrown into the fire pan, you know, coming out of NXT. But I kind of put myself in a position I felt coming out of NXT to deserve an opportunity like that. But just meeting with Edge, you know, I remember our first conversation we ever had. He was like, "I don't know if I like you," and I was like, "Well, what do you want me to say to that?" You know, and he was like, "Well, you know, you're this big guy, and you don't really talk much. You're kind of intimidating." I was like, "Wait a minute, we've never spoke, you know, because you're Edge. I'm not going to walk up to you and bug you."
So he doesn't like you as a character? Or
no, he just like he didn't know if he liked me as a person, you know, because I tend to be very like, especially when I'm someplace new, I tend to look around a lot. I'm not very like, "Hey, what's going on? I'm da-da-da." I'm just not like that. I'm like, "Hey, what's up? You know, you do your thing, my thing." So,
for the record, he did not come in and say, "Hey, how you doing?"
Yeah.
Well, that's your bodyguard. That's back to the other thing. You're
that's
assessing.
just my personality. Once I get to know you and like it's cool, then the, you know, the other part of me comes out where I'm like cracking jokes and stuff all the time. But and I really wasn't sure what. They don't really tell you a whole bunch, you know. And I knew I was going to be with Alberto, but I wasn't sure what. In what role, you know, bodyguard, was I going to be with him in the main thing? Was I not going to be there? So I still wasn't really sure, you know, coming off of NXT and stuff, and so we had that conversation out there, and I was like, well, you kind of got me wrong, because big guys, we get a bad rep in wrestling, sports entertainment. For some reason, a lot of people think everything's given to us, and historically, there has been some guys that, because of their size, they've been given maybe opportunities that maybe, you know, ring work wise or speaking wise, they probably didn't deserve, but because they were a big, imposing guy, sometimes you can't coach, you know, they say you can't coach size. So there's kind of this thing like, oh, he's just getting this because he's big, and maybe his work ethic isn't, you know, the same as the other guys. And my situation was different, and I was explaining to him, like, I was in Deep South, I was fast tracked for a minute, then I had those 2 horrible matches with Scotty 2 Hotty, where I was just too physical, and I was sent back down. Then I was not used at all. Then I was let go. Then I came back. So I said, I've been on all of it, you know. So I don't take anything for granted, you know, and my work ethic speaks for itself. So after that conversation, like, he was like, okay, you know, I didn't know those things about you. So, because sometimes people just see you and they think, oh, this guy is, you know, he's quiet, big, imposing guy. And then earlier that day we had a meeting, and they were looking for, you know, things to irritate me and Alberto, you know, promo-wise, and I was sitting there and I was like, oh man, and I've got a million nicknames, and I'm bagging all the time, and for some reason, Edge was like, well, you got anything? And I just remember going, and I had a million things in my head, but the worst thing I could possibly ever call myself just sat in the front of my head, and I was trying to, like, something else, and it just sat there, and I was like, oh. And everyone's, you know, and it was like Michael Hayes, Christian, and they were looking at me, and I was like, you could call him Ricky Martin, and you could call me King Hippo. And as soon as I said it, I was like, Bowser or something else. Why'd that come up? And he just started laughing, and he's like, yeah. And I'm like, ah. So of course, you know, there's all those pictures at the time of King Hippo with my face on it, and stuff like that. And but after that, you know, relationship was really cool, and you know, enjoyed working with those guys, and you know. Of course, we went on, you know, to WrestleMania, and you know, it was like a historic match. So I'm glad I was a part of that.
Excellent. All right, Lee Sanders of the RCWR show has sent us this video.
Sean, Funky Dinosaur, what's up, man? It's your old pal over here, Lee Sanders of the RCWR show. Funky Dinosaur, I got a very good question for you, man. It kind of follows up on the chat that I was able to have with you a little while back Could you go a little bit more in depth for us about what exactly was your version of the Hall of Pain gimmick? Because you kind of alluded to that your version was totally different than Mark Henry's version. I want to know, man, just what exactly was your true version of it? What exactly were you going to do? Give the details, man, please, because I'm dying to know. I'm sure that the folks
He doesn't know how to end a
listening
question.
and watching this definitely want to know what's up.
That's the worst
So
feeling
it's the
when you can't end a
411,
question.
man. Peace out.
You just
When you have
keep
to listen
talking.
to it is the
Yes.
worst.
And
In short,
well, and this bothers me sometimes. What I said was, you get one idea on a piece of paper, and it's written out. You and I look at this character, and we're not going to play it the same.
Right.
I'm going to take the information on there. I'm going to make it about myself, and my character's going to be different. So the thing was, well, you had this character. You wrote the Hall of Pain gimmick thing, and I ended up doing the Funkasaurus.
Mm-hmm.
The Hall of Pain thing was Mark took an idea, a pitch, he made it his own. I wouldn't have done it anything like what Mark did. I would have done it the way I did it. I'm different. I'm more cerebral. I'm more a different kind of a worker. So it's two completely different things. It might have stemmed from the same ideas, but they're two different things. So it's not anything different. It's just that Mark looked at it and he painted his canvas differently than I would have.
Right.
And it worked out great for him. He
like
went on
two
to
actors playing
a character.
part in a
You're not supposed
sequel
to play.
and
It's not like how would yours would have been. Well, we don't know.
Okay. Fair enough.